Put the whoosy on the whatsy. Attach the whatsy to the whoosy. Connect the thingamajig to the thingamabob, and that'll make the whatchamacallit.
Hello! Welcome back to Making Records. I'm Eric Valentine. Today we're going to do another comparison type thing. As you may be aware, I am a lover of analog tape machines. More in the technical sense, not the carnal sense. I've always used tape machines. I started off making records with tape machines. I started on a little Tascam 244, cassette 4-track. Graduated up to a Fostex B16 half-inch machine. Then got an MCI 24-track. Then ultimately got a Ampex MM1200 that I synced with a Studer A800. Most of the records that I've done use those two tape machines. Then later on, I started to get curious about having some tape machines that had a little more color to them. And so I experimented. I got a Scully 8-track, and I loved that. A previous episode, we talked about that a bunch on the Dwarves FEFU song. Then I really enjoyed that machine, so I got a 16-track version of that. That I still have and use today. The last album that I recorded earlier this year all went through that Scully 16-track. And at a certain point along the way, I also acquired a Studer J37. If you aren't familiar with this particular tape machine, it is often referred to as the holy grail of tape machines. And that distinction is not unfounded. It is the coolest sounding tape machine I ever came across in my travels. It is 1-inch tape, and only 4 tracks. So, and that's that's the multi-track version. There's a 2-track version which is called the C37. And so, I was lucky enough to acquire a J37 at one point, and had some help refurbishing it. And when I got that thing working, it blew me away. It is the coolest sounding tape machine. So this is the machine that was used on the early Beatles records. So, for instance, the album Sgt. Pepper's was recorded with Studer J37s. I believe they used 2 of them that they would sync together in various ways or bounce from one to the other to accumulate enough tracks to be able to pull off extravagant songs like A Day in the Life. They used 4-track tape machines to record that song. And it explains so much about the sound of those records. Because it was always kind of mysterious to me. Like in that era, that sort of mid-60s era, a lot of the tape machines that were around were not particularly hi-fi and did not have extraordinary low end. And when I finally heard the J37, I was like, okay, now I get it. This machine can deliver incredible fidelity with a lot of musical character to it. And also, if you at 15 IPS, it'll give you incredible sonics. If you set it at 7.5 IPS, it's super vibey and cool and crunchy sounding and totally amazing that way as well. And so I got the machine. I've been using it on and off for a long time. When I got set up here in Topanga, it's a small setup. I don't really have room or a big console to accommodate having something like a Scully 16-track or an A800 24-track. And so the little J37 was the perfect candidate to represent the analog tape sound in this room because it's a little more compact. It's not too huge. And, I'm mostly doing things, a little bit at a time here. I'm overdubbing stuff mostly, recording drums, then bass and guitar, then whatever. So I don't have to record 24 tracks at the same time. And it also happens to be the best sounding tape machine in the universe, so it worked out great for me. More recently, there was a project that came up for my wife, Grace. She was invited to participate in a tribute record, a tribute to the studio, Fame Studios or Muscle Shoals Studios. They were sort of affiliated to studios that had this incredible history of recording insanely iconic music with a bunch of unbelievable artists from, you know, Etta James to the Rolling Stones to more recently the Black Keys, like on and on and on and on and on. It's an unbelievable history that that Muscle Shoals world captured. And so when they asked her to do it, we were like, hell yeah, that would be amazing to be a part of. They sent us a list of songs. There's like 200 songs on the list. All of them are like, oh my God, this song, oh my God, that song. All amazing songs that were done there. The one that caught our eye was I'd Rather Go Blind. And astonishingly, it had not been claimed yet. It was still available. And we thought, wow, what a cool opportunity for Grace to sing, you know, to do her thing. It's just such a beautiful song. It's one of the most heart-wrenching songs ever written. And so it was available. We signed up to do it. And the way they were doing the project was typically to have people come to Muscle Shoals and record in the studio there with some of the musicians that actually were there and recorded on the original versions of these songs. And that all sounded incredible. We were totally into doing that. The way the timing worked out, we couldn't go to Muscle Shoals because Grace was super pregnant. She was past the safe to fly date in her pregnancy. So we couldn't go there, but the other wonderfully capable and amazing producers and engineers that were involved in the project offered to record the track for us at Muscle Shoals with the amazing, you know, musicians, and send us the recording, and then she would sing on it, and we'd have a finished thing. So we said, that sounds great. Send us some awesome music. And they did that. They recorded the song and sent it out. They stuck very close to the original arrangement, which makes sense. You know, it's the original folks that played the song, and there wasn't really any reason to try and reinvent it. And I think it actually worked out really cool because it's an opportunity to hear two different singers take on a song instead of having this like total reinvention of the music, and that would take it into a totally different context. You get to hear the way Etta James sings I'd Rather Go Blind. You get to hear how Grace Potter sings that song in a somewhat familiar context. And so it's cool. You really hear the difference in their vocal styles. This is definitely a situation where two extraordinary singers, there isn't really like a better or worse or whatever. It's just two different takes on how to deliver the emotion of the song. It was really cool. One of the other things that was cool that happened is the original song is quite short. It's, you know, like, I'm pretty sure it's just verse, chorus, fade. That's all you get. And so when they played the song again, they had a solo section and then a whole third chorus. And so there was a new opportunity to actually take the song to a whole different dynamic for the last chorus and for the solo and stuff like that. So that was really fun. Got to add something new to it. And so we did the project. They sent the thing to us, and the Pro Tools session. And there was some really amazing stuff on there. Some of it we ended up changing to try and stay closer to the direction that Grace is heading for her next record. And we just wanted things to feel more cohesive for her as an artist. And so I ended up replacing the drums. I played drums on it right here in this little room. Grace played some organ. Dylan Day played a bunch of amazing guitar stuff on it. But we kept the original bass, the Wurlitzer. There's incredible horns on it. So a bunch of cool stuff that came from Muscle Shoals. So it ended up being recorded at 3 different studios, some at Muscle Shoals, some here in Topanga. The Dylan Day guitar stuff was recorded at Barefoot. All of that came together in one session here in Topanga for me to mix. And, you know, I really want everything to sound like it was captured at the same time. And so what I ended up doing is taking every single track in this session and running it through the Studer J37 as if all of it had been tracked through that machine. So everything that was recorded would have a familiar, cohesive sort of sonic imprint on it, and the whole thing would gel together better. So that's how all this came together. I'll play you a couple, maybe the first minute of the song so you kind of hear what we're dealing with. And then, I'm going to show you what the J37 does on all of these individual tracks, or as many as we have time for. And then we're going to compare it to the J37 plugin and see how that stacks up. All right. So here is the song.